What's up, guys? Still no sign of a job yet. It's been, what is today, the 11th? I guess I came here on the 3rd. So it's been like 7 days. I think I've applied at every single movie theater in the Los Angeles area, in the greater Los Angeles area. Seriously, every single one. I went on Google Maps and I looked at every single one and applied to all of them. And I've had one interview so far. And a lot of these places are hiring, and I have experience. I've worked in movie theaters for like 10 years. But I don't know what's going on. It's just taking a while, I guess. But I hope I get a job soon, you know, because I need one to be able to continue doing this. Anyways, this is going to be the Subscriber Sundays video. I've got some questions here that you guys have asked me, and I'm going to answer them. Spore Mind threw in like 1,000 questions, and they're all really good. So I'm going to answer like 4 of them this time and save a bunch of them for another Subscriber Sundays video. That way, I get to address some of the other questions as well. Alright, so the first question, David Figuera, I hope I'm saying that right in some sort of way. And David asks, why don't you tint your rear windows? You can tint as dark as you want in Cali, only the rear. I think I've just been procrastinating that a little bit too much. Also, just having the finances to be able to do it. I know it's not too expensive to order a roll of tint and then do it yourself, but I know I would probably mess that up. That being said, I'll probably do it eventually. I just haven't yet. And I don't have a good reason aside from just finances, just having the money to do it. So I hopefully, I would like to do that at some point soon. But for now, I'm just gonna roll with these windows, and it's been fine. I've been doing it for about 2 months now, so we'll see how long I can keep doing that. Carlos Contreras, parentheses laser guided taco, asks, what vehicle are you sleeping in? Carlos, I'm sleeping in a 2001 Volkswagen Passat. It's a wagon, and it's kind of small. It's smaller than the van, but it works. I have plenty of room to lay down and keep my stuff that I need, and my toiletries and stuff like that all in here, and still remain pretty stealthy about it, and keep the car clean. So, Spore Mind, one of Spore Mind's great questions here. Are you considering getting an apartment, or do the cons still not outweigh the pros in your mind? So, to be completely honest, I would like to get an apartment here. Just a studio, just something very small that I can afford myself. I don't want to pay over $600 for it. And the reason for that is because this is where I wanted to be. This is where I've always wanted to be, and now I'm here. So there's no reason for me not to try to settle down, try to get a place and try to develop myself here a little bit more. Now, I'll probably keep the car, and I might even still live in the car a little bit once I get a place. And if I don't like living in the place, I might even just move back into a car, But I do want to try to get a small place. I think it's pretty far out, because obviously I'll have to get a job first and other things like that. But I would like to eventually get a place. As far as the cons and the pros, I think that if I had something a little bit bigger, if it was a van and it had the solar hookups and all that stuff, I think that would be fine, given my work line, because I'd be able to still edit and I'd still be able to do all this other stuff that I do. But in the car, it's hard. It's really difficult to do all this stuff, to have all these plugs and to edit things on my computer and to film things, and just doing what I do in general, and having a job in the media industry. It's not going to work unless I have my own place and I can have a computer set up, or I have a bigger vehicle, which could also be a possibility. So another one of Spore Mind's question is, are you happy? What are your philosophies of happiness? What will you do to put yourself in the mindset to achieve your goals, even if sometimes you feel like sitting around and doing nothing productive? I think I'm happy. I'm not entirely sure. It goes off and on, you know, but I think for the most part I'm satisfied. I don't know if satisfied and happiness are the same thing exactly, but I mean, I'm content. But that being said, there's always things that I'm trying to reach towards, you know. There's always things that I'm trying to get that I never feel like are really out of my reach. So I always try to work towards them. And I feel like there's just a constant pull to achieve certain things, and I can't even really explain the goals. I can't even really explain how I go about trying to achieve my goals. It's just like there's like a pull, you know. It's like there's a drive, and I can't even explain why exactly, but it's like there's something pulling you towards doing something, you know, and you just follow that, you know. If there's something that you enjoy doing and you feel it pulling you, then you should keep doing it, you know. You should keep doing that, and you should keep doing it to the best of your ability, because that's what you're supposed to be doing, obviously, right? And sometimes, you know, I do just feel like sitting around and doing nothing productive, and I think that's fine. You know, that's part of it. You gotta have rest, and you know, sometimes it's necessary, I think, to sit around and do nothing. So Spore Mind also asks, what are your views on monogamy? I'm pretty hardcore. Well, not really hardcore. I don't know. I would say I like monogamous relationships, and that's just because I don't want to get any flack from this. I think other types of relationships, open relationships, poly relationships, whatever, I think they can work. With my personality type, they can't. At least, not that I know of. I would be willing to try something, because you never know. But I really don't think it would work, because I feel like I'm somebody who develops jealousy or something. Maybe not necessarily jealousy, but like I feel like when you share a relationship with somebody that's like a romantic relationship, or it's like really close bond, I feel like that's very special, you know, and it's just a connection that's I guess, I don't know, it's just hard for me to imagine myself sharing that connection, and for the other person sharing that connection. I mean, I think maybe it's possible, but that being said, I mean, having a relationship with one person is complicated enough for me specifically. You know, with everything going on in life, and everybody's trying to do their own thing. Even in a relationship, you know, everybody's trying to do your own thing. You're trying to work together and do things together, and that works. But throwing another person in the mix, to me, just seems like it would lead to complications. Like I said, you know, not always. You know, it does work for some people, and that's awesome, and I would be willing to try it. But I don't think it would work. And maybe that would cause failure just because I'm not optimistic about it, but I just don't think it doesn't fit my personality. So BLAKDFJE asks, how did you first set out to live in a van? I'm thinking about it myself, but cannot set myself to do it. That's a good question. I have been making videos ever since I started, so if you want to find out, I'll put the link below. And I mean, basically, I just started watching van dwelling videos on YouTube, and that really inspired me. There's a few van dwellers that really inspired me at the beginning, you know. One of them was just called Van Dweller. Will Burson, Chris Travels, The Ramblings of Bry, let's see, Living Free. All these people really inspired me, and they're all pretty big channels on YouTube at this point. And they sort of inspired this lifestyle, and tons more actually. I'm an Alien. They all sort of inspired me to do this, and I was tired of living in the house and paying rent, so I decided, why not? But yeah, check out those videos if you want to know more. Mr. Man asks, have you thought about maybe trying to go to Portland? I think that you would like it there. Portland seems cool. I've heard that it's kind of getting a little bit more like San Francisco. Maybe not, I don't know, I've never even been there actually. It does seem cool, it seems really laid back, and I've got a few friends up there. But ultimately what made me decide to come down to LA was just the film industry being down here and being more involved in media production and things like that. I know that that's probably, they do some of that stuff in Portland, but it's just a lot more, there's a lot more of it going down here, so I had to come down here. Explorer Steve asks, are you naked in there? This is in regards to my float tank video. Yeah, I was totally naked in the float tank. You gotta be naked in there. I mean, I guess you don't gotta be naked in there, but I think you should be naked in there. Kevin Hornbuckle asks, why didn't you beat the guy's ass? This is the guy that spit on me a few weeks back when I was walking by the Alamo Draft House, walking home from the Alamo Draft House. And, you know, to answer that one, I wanted to punch the guy, you know. I got really angry, you know, but I don't do that, and I can't do that. And really that would only escalate any sort of problem that already happened, so I just sort of tried to walk it off and ignore it as much as possible. I did get really angry, and I started punching other things that wouldn't have as much of a repercussion, but ultimately I shouldn't have even done that, you know. It was just wasted energy, and you know, I guess that whole situation made me decide to move to Los Angeles and sort of kick it into gear, you know what I mean? And so really I kind of see it now as a blessing in disguise. And it seems like almost everything bad that happens in your life, if you don't let it take hold of you, it's like a blessing in disguise, you know? If you don't let these bad things grapple onto you and pull you down, and you learn from them, and you come out on top in the end, then those things were great, you know, they helped you. They helped you along, and they were really just a blessing in disguise, and maybe that's all that life is just one constant blessing in disguise, you know, over and over again. So, I don't know. So another question from Sport Mind is, do you know what you want from life, or just explore it with no real plan? These questions are great. They're also like the hardest questions to answer. And I feel like I might not be answering them at all, really, because I'm giving like both ways, you know, like to each answer. But anyways, I feel like I know what I want in life. I feel like I have this drive, and I want to make videos, I feel like I know what I want in life, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know what I want in life, and I feel like it's part of the same thing, you know. I feel like I enjoy the sort of unknown aspect of it, and just getting into different shenanigans and talking about them with people, and I just hope that continues on forever, you know, because I feel like that embrace of just the unknown and just the mystery of everything, I don't know, it's just really interesting to me. But anyways, I feel like I know what I want from life, and that's for it to continue to be like it is. But also I would like to have moments of more relaxation, and a relationship, and being able to go on vacations, and being able to have a home, having children eventually, teaching them things, you know, edit films. There's all these things that I want, and I think that they're really important, but but I don't really know how I'm going to get there, so I guess I don't really have a plan. So I know what I want, I don't know how to get it, and that's just how I'm rolling, I guess. So another question from Sport Mind, and guys, there's a lot of really good questions here from Sport Mind, and I'm going to answer all of these eventually. But for now, I just got to do a couple here. Another question from Sport Mind, though, is what do you worry most about? And to be completely honest, I don't really worry about much at all. I don't know, there's never, like, in my mind, I'm never, like, really worried about something that I can think of, you know? Like, it's not like, I feel like worrying about something requires you to think about that, problem. And when I think about a problem, I don't think about the problem too much as I think about the solution. So I just focus on fixing whatever I worry about, and that causes me not to worry about it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just try not to worry about things too often. And if something is bothering me, then I'll work really hard to try to fix it. Like, for example, right now, I'm kind of worried about not having a job, right? But I'm working as hard as I can to find one. You know, I've been applying everywhere. I've been like non-stop for the past like 8 days, just going to different businesses, turning in application after application after application, resumes, just throwing resumes out. And so that, I mean, I am worried sort of, but at the same time I know that like eventually something's going to come along. So any time spent worrying about it is just kind of wasted, you know, it's just kind of like wasted time. So I try not to worry about a lot of things, but I would say yeah, I would say I don't really worry about much. Do you ever experience depersonalization or derealization? That's a really interesting and specific question, and it's kind of funny that you posted it because I definitely do. I once smoked weed with my friends after I'd been drinking, and I had sort of a panic attack, and it was really weird because I laid down, and eventually the whole room was like sideways, and my perspective was just sideways, and I thought that that's just how the world was, if that makes any sense. I was looking at things, and I convinced myself that everything was sideways, and that was perfectly fine, I guess. But we had plans to go to a club that night, and my friend Chris came up to me and he said, "Hey, you ready to go, man?" And I just really didn't feel like going. I was so comfortable there, and I was like really stoned, I guess. I don't know, I was just out of my mind sort of. And anyways, they got me up, and I was feeling like really anxious and sort of paranoid and having a panic attack, and we started driving to the club, and I started to tell them, "Guys, I can't go in here. I can't dance tonight. I feel really weird, and I'm having a panic attack, and I can't barely see anything." And I couldn't see anything. Everything was like going dark, and I couldn't even tell who they were. They were my friends, and I couldn't tell who they were. And I was just starting to freak out and wondering what the heck happened. I mean, I've smoked before, and this has never happened to me, but so why is this happening now? And it was like that for a couple hours. I didn't, you know, for the first couple hours I stayed in their car and just in the back seat, laying down, you know, in a fetal position and just like freaking out, basically tweaking, I guess. And I was just so paranoid that somebody was going to come up to the car and discover me and be like, "Hey, you're smoking," you know, and get me in some sort of trouble. But eventually I calmed down. I went into the club. I was still acting weird that night, and ever since then, when I smoke, I have sort of a derealization thing that happens to me, and it happens to me for a couple days after I smoke and right when I smoke. And what it is it's like a sensation of being aware of negative things. You know, it's really hard to explain, but not only that, it feels like I'm being like controlled from the outside. You know what I mean? It's like it feels like you're in a dream sort of, and that you're just a pawn watching over. You're just a pawn, and you feel like you can see that something else is controlling you, and you feel like a pawn. It's really, really strange, and depersonalization, derealization, it's really uncomfortable. So I try not to smoke, if at all, you know, possible. And I mean, there's occasions that I have smoked and it's been fine, and sometimes it depends on who I'm hanging out with. But no matter what, usually after I smoke, I do get this problem for a few days afterwards. And people have made fun of me. People say, "Oh, that doesn't happen, you know, blah blah blah, you know, you're just not used to the weed, whatever, you know, blah blah blah." But there was a period of time when I smoked for like a month, and I was just constantly in this sort of haze, and I definitely had built up my tolerance. And this has happened to other people. There's been a movie about it, starring Matthew Perry. It's a terrible, terrible film, and it's a terrible way to put this problem out there, this issue out in the open. There should definitely be a better movie about it, but it's definitely a real thing that happens, and sometimes marijuana can trigger it. And so yeah, I have had problems with depersonalization and derealization. I really don't have it unless I smoke. So like I said, I try not to smoke as much as possible. Guys, that's about it for this Subscriber Sundays video. I hope you guys have a good Sunday afternoon, and I hope you do some cool stuff. Wish me luck with the job hunt, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Keep it real, stay tuned, and Eat some chicken strips, unless you're vegan, in which case you can eat tofu. I guess you can't fry it though, or maybe, I don't know if you can fry it. Maybe there's a certain type of oil you could use and fry it. You could just skip that. Skip the fried, skip the tofu. Just get a salad. It'd be more healthy anyways, actually, so.